Ew, that is not how you animate a bouncing ball. Hi, my name is Wayne Dixon. I'm the animation instructor over at cgcookie.com, and I've literally graded hundreds of bouncing ball exercises. And today I want to show you the top 6 mistakes I see with beginner animators. You won't believe number 7. I mean, the internet doesn't do that anymore. Pretty sure it does. Let's go. This is the number 1 most common issue I see with the classic bouncing ball exercise. Here, it just looks a little slow and floaty. That's because the spacing isn't tight enough at the top here. This middle section just feels too evenly spaced, and the spacing's not getting bigger and bigger all the way down. And especially here at the bottom, this spacing gap should be the biggest. So let's have a look in the graph editor to see these issues. You can see here in the curve that this just looks too diagonal and it's not parabolic enough. So I'm going to grab these top handles, making sure that I scale them around their own centers and then make them a lot wider. Then I'll update the viewport. It's already looking a lot better at the top, but the spacing near the ground still isn't big enough. I can fix that by grabbing these handles here. I'll scale them towards the middle and then shift them up slightly. Now let's update and I'll have a look at that. Yep, that's much better. All right, let's compare those two bounces, before and after. Much better. This next one's a super common error, but it is difficult to spot at first glance. In this exercise, we're trying to bounce the ball up and down and have it perfectly loop on either side of that bounce. But something feels off to me. The timing isn't the same on the way up as it is the way down. Trust me, a trained animator can actually see this. Let me turn on the motion paths and you should be able to spot this. So here, these motion paths look a little bit weird, like double dots, rather than being perfectly in sync. So what's wrong in this instance? Well, this is a simple mathematical error, and you'll be surprised at how many people actually make this error. So let's check the timing. We have a keyframe on frame 1, frame 15, and frame 30. So there's 14 frames between the first 2 keyframes, and then there's 15 frames between the second 2 keyframes. Now, why do people make this really common mistake? They just forgot that they started on frame 1 and not frame 0. So how do we fix this? Oh, it's pretty easy. We just need to make both sides of the loop the same. So I will reduce 1 frame from this side, then shorten the playback range so it loops seamlessly. I'll update everything, no more double dots, and everything is looking the way it should. This here is an example of the classic arcing bouncing ball. When students first get to this one, they've already practiced their vertical spacing, but when they add the horizontal motion into it, it's really easy for them to forget everything they've just learned. You see here that the vertical spacing on this arc is too even, which makes it feel very diagonal rather than parabolic. If you compare this frame here to this frame, you can see that the ball actually hits the ground and loses energy, which is what it's meant to be doing. But here on this bounce, you can see it hits the ground and then bounces back to almost the same height. And this here is not what it should be doing. So basically, the vertical spacing is all over the shop. So what do I think the easiest way to learn how to get the horizontal and the vertical spacing working together? It's actually to work on them separately. So what I'm going to do is work on the vertical first. So I'm going to drag the timeline until the ball is somewhere in the middle, and then I can mute the horizontal motion with this little button here. And that way the ball will just be bouncing up and down in place. This will make it really easy to see the vertical spacing without the horizontal motion messing with your brain. Then I'll work on each bounce one at a time, making sure the spacing is nice and tight at the top and it accelerates all the way down to the ground on each of the bounces. You can also see that I'm working on the mirrored handles both at the same time. This is to keep both sides of that bounce looking exactly the same. Then once it's all looking good, bouncing in place, I can unmute the horizontal and see how it's all working together. There might be a few little spots I need to touch up, but this is looking pretty good to me. So there's a little trick to help you not let the horizontal motion mess with your perception of the vertical spacing. Now you're looking at the classic bouncing ball, but with squash and stretch. So this here isn't a bad example. However, there is one thing missing from this animation. Something feels really weird around the ground here. So let's slow it down and take a look. We're actually showing the squash on the ground, but 1 frame earlier, that stretch pose is actually in the air here. And the issue is that there's no connection between these shapes. It's just popping from the air onto the ground and back again. But if we can show the change of shape while it's touching the ground, this is going to help with the flow of animation. So let's compare the difference if we show the stretch frames that are touching the ground. First, the animation without the change. And now, after this change. I hope you can agree that this animation flows together much better. So don't forget to show your change of shape on the ground. Another common mistake students make when they first start using squash and stretch is that they don't treat the timing and the spacing differently than they would in a basic vanilla version. That is one where the ball is not squashing and stretching. And this is feeling a little slow, even though the motion paths show nice tight spacing at the top and it's accelerating all the way to the ground. So why does this bounce feel a little bit slow when if it was the vanilla version it would feel really good? That's because the ball is stretching, so the negative space between the frames is actually getting smaller. This gives the impression that it's actually slowing down. To compensate for this, we need to treat the timing and the spacing differently. So I'm going to make this bounce faster. I'll take 4 frames off the drop, and then the same on the other side. And then I'll exaggerate the contrast between the tight and the large spacing. I'll make the tight spacing even tighter, and the large spacing even larger than the vanilla version. Now let's compare those two bounces. First before, and now after. There we go. It's nowhere near as slow, and it's feeling quite lively. Once students have practiced their timing and spacing and their squash and stretch on the basic bouncing ball exercises, they get a chance to add life to our cute little ball here and treat it like an actual living character. And by far the most common issue I see when students first do this is something I call the sticky takeoff. Let's take a look at this spacing issue now. This character is going from a squash into a stretch to be able to launch himself off the ground. And if we have a look at the top of the ball here, you can see that it's speeding up on its way to that stretch, but then something is slowing it down here, and then all of a sudden, pop, it goes fast again. This is why there's that sticky feeling before the jump. So to fix this, we can probably shorten the timing here, but the main thing is to make sure that the ball is accelerating all the way off the ground, and that will remove that sticky takeoff. You will often see this same issue in reverse on the landing as well. Let's take a look. We can track the top of the ball here where it's traveling quite fast, and then after it makes contact, it instantly slows down and then speeds up again, coming into that squash. This is what I call a sticky landing. To fix this, you just need to make sure that the spacing doesn't slow down and speed up. So I'll remove 1 frame and then favor the squash pose so it slows in correctly. Now that takeoff and the landing is nice and smooth. So that's it. That's the top 6 mistakes I see beginner animators make with their bouncing ball exercises. Now you can learn this and more over at cgcookie.com. We literally have hundreds of courses about all things to do with Blender. But if you wanted to learn more about character animation, that is covered extensively in the Animation Bootcamp. Melvin gives it a thumbs up, so it must be pretty good. The interesting thing is, even though I've pointed out these mistakes and I point them out during the course, the students still often make these mistakes, even though when they know what to look for. Now, why do I think that is? I think it's part of learning where you need to make that mistake before you can truly learn from it. But hey, prove me wrong. I'll see you in the Animation Bootcamp. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notifications bell because the algorithm.